Hi, everybody. Welcome to my show, Willows. My name is Donna Gorton, and tonight we are going to be covering ancient underground cities, of which there are an abundance of. So we're going to be diving into that in a minute. Now, for anybody who happens to be viewing me on YouTube, per se, or the website for Soma Fusion or the Facebook page for Soma Fusion, I do have my own group, Willows Bend, and I monitor the chat in there because we found that even if I go over to YouTube, that's where my members follow me to. So they end up being the same people regardless. So I just do it that way because a lot of people, especially if you're not tech savvy, they, for some reason, end up having a hard time getting over to YouTube and into the show live. So at any rate, I'm gonna, if you see me looking to the side, that is what I'm doing, is monitoring my chat. So I'm gonna get that up and running here. There I am. And say hi to everybody real quick. Okay. There we go. Okay, that way everyone knows I see them. Hey, Stace, how are you, love? You actually beat the Sandys in. So I'm gonna give it a sec for everybody else to start wandering in here, and I'm gonna, let's see, make a little space. It seemed like, I don't know, Jake is behind me today, so right now anyway. So I'm sitting a little further down than I normally do, and I feel like I'm off center somehow, which I probably am totally not, but I don't know, feels like I am. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be covering ancient underground cities. Now, I do have a ton of photos to show for tonight. I'm hoping they're going to be able to be seen on my tablet because I realized it was quite late last night by the time I got to the research. Hi, Kim. That the quality of them weren't great because I was foolishly using my old tablet to screenshot them. And it's just not as high quality of a picture as my other black tablet is, the extra one. Hey, Tanya. So I'm hoping they'll come across at least enough to give people a sense of what stuff looks like inside. So we're going to give that a go. And I have quite a few of them. So I'm really hoping they come through. And at one point, just as a heads up to everybody, I'm going to need to jump off of my my Willows Bend chat on Facebook, hey Sandy, in order to read a short passage that is on my phone, because I figured I have to be able, it has to be really clear for me to read that. Once I realized they weren't coming out great on my tablet, I used my phone to screenshot it with instead. So I'll just be out for a minute and then come back in. So no big deal on that one. And as you can hear, I'm sinusy. My apologies. They've been mowing the lawns around my apartment today. And of course, I'm highly allergic to fresh cut grass. So I did take my allergy medicine, but I'm still like snuffly. So, and anyhow, forgive any spills and so forth. Yeah, so I'm surprised more people aren't in yet. Wow. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and do the circle of protection for everybody and get that out of the way, and that will cover anybody anyway once they come into the show. So for those who are maybe new to me or listening in, my group likes me to do a circle of protection with Sage to kind of prevent any negativity or ill will or anything else befalling anybody. And thus far, everyone stayed good, so I would assume it's working. So I'm going to do that first, and I get that out of the way, and that covers anybody listening in the replay as well or watching in the replay. We are up and about. Soma Fusion Network is up and about on every social media site known to humankind, virtually, iHeartRadio included. So we are, you can catch us anywhere, you know, you want, that's easiest for you to listen to or watch. And should anybody happen to be listening on any of our radio sites, thank you. and we appreciate that and your support for Soma Fusion, which is really meant for, we are huge supporters of women in a more male-dominated field of broadcasting. We allow men in too. We're not sexist about it, but you can't be a jerk if you're a guy in order to get in. So we do that. And yes, please like and share if you see the video. I appreciate it. So I'm going to light this over up here so that I don't, because my fan is on the floor in front of me, because it's still quite warm here. Not cool enough to open the windows yet and let the evening air in. So let's hope it doesn't get blown everywhere. Okay, light her up. So with this sage, I cast a circle of protection around everyone in my Willows Bend group, anyone watching or listening anywhere else that Soma Fusion is, that they are protected from any negativity, ill will, or harm meant by others, and should anyone try to send anything their way, that'll be returned to them threefold. So I will it, so mote it be. Oh, and may that protection follow them outside of the group and show as well into their personal and private lives. Forgot that part. So I will it, so mote it be. There we go. And my stones too. There we go. All right, so let's see, where can I set that so that'll be safe to burn away and not be, there we go, flying anywhere. Hey, Marianne. All right, so ancient underground cities. Now, we all know what an underground city is, right? We've covered it many times throughout Willow's Bend history of shows. You are very welcome, Sandy, in a variety of different ways. And even there's a couple in here that I learned brand new, I've never heard of before, but also ones that I did have on the docket for the voting table that just were fascinating sites that I only lightly delved into in the show tonight, just in case it does want to get covered later on in more in-depth. There's certainly a plethora more of information out there on it. So just kind of, enough to kind of explain it and show it to you. So to start out with, we have Willows salt mine in Poland. And like I said, I do have photos, which I'm hoping will be able to be viewed on my screen. Next time, lesson learned, to use the other tablet for screenshots, not my old one. I guess it might even just be kind of degrading to the level that it's just getting too old to, do what I ask it to, or the quality of the camera or whatever. So let me pop open my photos, because I do have a ton of pictures tonight. So that's warming up. So Wilska, there we go, salt mine in Poland, while my photos are opening. This table salt mine in southern Poland is referred to as the Underground Salt Cathedral because of its massive underground size, occupying over 287 kilometers or 178.3 miles of the town's land, which is obviously quite extensive. So let me get back to, okay, here we go. So here's a go on the pictures. We'll see what we can do. And let me get my chat head bubble from Soma Fusion out of the way. We'll give it a shot. So these are from the salt mine. And then I'll give you more details once we can see. Oh, that's not too bad, just a little bluish. Okay, so those figures have been carved. Some of these that you'll see, the statuary and such, were carved by some of the miners way back when, and some were done by artisans in the meantime. So there's, all these other cubby holes and basically types of furniture, if you will, that have been created. And it's a table salt mine. So they mine for this kind of salt we use on our food and put on the table. And so let's get this one open. So it was first opened in the 13th century and has continuously produced table salt until 1996, making it one of the oldest salt mines in the world. So this thing is like ancient. Some experts say that it's way older than the 13th century, possibly 6,000 years ago. as an ancient Neolithic cemeteries. They've been founded within the region of the mine. So they think that the mines may have been used by some people back then, not as cemeteries, but because the grave sites were found near there, they think that some of the mine shafts or the caves might have been used back 6,000 years ago. So let me flip. And it's become a national historic monument in Poland, and it's known for the complexity of its tunnels and the intricate rock salt carvings of various mythological figures and several chapels made by the miners, or like I said, the artists throughout the ages. Its galleries and tunnels extend more than 300 meters or 980 feet underground, and about 1.2 million visitors pass through it each year checking the place out. So let me show you more of the photos from there. So this top picture is of some of the other figures that have been carved that are like life-size statues. The second one, they've kind of created, it reminds me of like the inside of a mall. I don't know how much detail you're going to be able to see it. It's the best one I could find of that area to show, but they actually have chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. There we go. And, you know, those are stairs and people walking way down below in the bottom picture. There's little shops and little areas on each side of the main walkway there. And so the top ones are the life-size statues that have been carved. So there's those. And yeah, this one is of some pope who was carved at some point. Hi, Terry. I don't know which pope, nor did the picture specify it. And then it has like the outside of the building as well in view. Let's see if I can get the right angle. It's the lighting there. So they get a little blue hue, but at least you can see them anyway. I was concerned you might not be able to. So, I mean, we all kind of know what the silhouette of the Pope looks like to be able to recognize. What are you doing, Kat? Did you guys hear that noise she just made? It was like, wow, 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 wow. Sorry. I was like, holy cow, what is that? And then I realized it was her. Little girl, where are you? That was bizarre. Maybe she was walking by the fan or something. Oh, good. She's going to go throw up in the bathroom. Great. She gives me so many gifts, you know. Oh, I hate that noise. It was. It just, she doesn't usually make that sound. So I was not sure what it was at first. So here's some of the other stuff that has been built. And all of that is made from the salt, you know, and they've carved it from the chunks of salt down there that's again turned into our table salt, and one of the cathedrals that's down in there as well. You know, if you actually chewed your food, you wouldn't get sick. I'm just saying, instead of kind of swallowing it whole. And it's not like there's such big chunks. Let's see. Here's one that has frescoes on the wall. They're not a separate picture that's hung on the wall. So they are more like as part of the wall itself. So I'm a little on my screen. See if we can kind of get in there. You can kind of and the bottom picture is more just again the walkways through there. Just to give you an idea of just how expansive this is, that these are kind of here, people walking through there. So it's kind of weird. Let's see here. You. A couple more figures. There's one that reminds me of anyway, the figure, the mythological figure of Titan. I don't know if that's actually what it is. Some look even like figures of, I'm guessing it might have been original miners from way back when. They're sort of dressed similar to the Hey, Aaron, lots of secrets, yes. Mention a secret such places that can, oh, very much so. And why they look for salt. Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, it's the oldest salt mine really in the world. So the bottom one looks like like Titan, the ocean. The others, I think that they're meant to show kind of like, miners from way back when. They're like those are more like mannequins that are in place. So let me see what else we've got here. And here is another carving that I'm not sure what the woman was holding. I almost think that whatever it says on the symbol is supposed to be a woman above the top of the building, and she's holding it. Could be the earth. I don't know. You can really tell from the photo, but again, it's one of the carvings I've done, so I found it interesting. So let me. There we go. There's that shoulder. Isn't happy on that one. I don't know if it's going to be on the other side. It would be easier on my shoulder on the other side. This one's pretty neat. I'm going to try holding it this way and see if you guys can still see it somewhat there. There's that looked really, really large against the background, so I'm guessing it's a massive piece of artwork that they carved. And let's see. This also shows the expansiveness of some of the halls that are in there. And they have like gone ahead and finished them off. So the floors are like tiled and stuff, and those are chandeliers. Oh, there's a ton of pictures tonight, Aaron. Well, I mean, if you're the main source providing table salt around the world, yes, because salt's also used to preserve food. So many places, they dehydrate food. And especially if this is going hundreds, and often have to preserve your food in order to keep it throughout the year, whatever, each whatever. So you kind of do like a brine salt type of thing on it, and that could help preserve it. So yeah, I mean, there's a call for it around the world, and this is like the biggest place that provided salt out of the world. So yeah, I'm a little bit kind of glitchy here and there on my side, Tanya. So hopefully it's not coming across on your side. So let's see what else we got. Pictures of the place here. There was cars. Well. Yeah, a bit glitchy. And let's see which one's this one. Okay, so that is the Willows site in Poland, which is the largest salt mine in the world. We got robo voice coming and going. Well, that's not good. Like I said, for me, it was kind of like not freezing, but a little glitchy, but hope for the best. So this is the one, this next site was the one that had on a table to vote on for a topic cover. Yeah, I'm still a little bit like out of sync with my audio, I think. Well, it is what it is, I guess. So Derekuyu in Turkey is an ancient city hidden under the Derekuyu district in Turkey, and it's deemed the largest underground complex in the country. It's a small glitch, but it comes and goes. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of seeing, Aaron, is that I'm kind of off and on, kind of stuttering or something. So it extends about 200 feet below the Earth's surface and occupies about 7,000 square feet. It's thought to have been first by ancient Indo-European people known as the Phrygians, around like occupied by the Phrygians around the 8th century and the 7th century BC, which stands before current era. So you go back to our year zero and then keep going back a little further. So, that far back. So more like 9,000 to 10,000 years ago. Now, experts aren't in total agreement as to who exactly built it. Some people suggest that the multi-level city may have already existed before 1200 BCE, which is before current era. Who are you saying happy birthday to? Whose birthday is it that I missed? I'm not sure. I mean, I did whatever in the birthday post. So if you signed up for the birthday post in Willows Bend, you got acknowledged anyway. So Derinkuyu has 18 levels, but only a few are accessible today, as the site wasn't actually rediscovered until 1960. Uh-oh, frozen. Boy, we're having trouble. Kind of frozen here, Katie. I'm not sure what the problem is. Can you guys still hear me in chat here or no? I'm gonna take that there, send. We may need to start a new feed. Let's see if I can get a hold of Miss Katie to let her know. You can hear me, but my photo's frozen. Okay, well, thank you, Stacy. So I did message her. I know I've got like a weird look on my face, right? So I messaged Katie in case she stepped away from the desk so that she knows that the image is frozen. We may, worst case scenario, need to start over again, which is fine because half of you came in anyway. So I will keep talking until I hear back from her on how we're going to proceed. I know it's right. So I messaged her. Oh, there she is.
Donna, it's actually your screen. You might want to actually turn your camera off and then turn it back on.
Okay, because I'm frozen on Facebook too.
Yeah, it's because you're frozen.
Oh, okay. Well, let me see if I can do that then.
I'm not frozen because I'm still streaming.
Okay, that is, they're saying that they're hearing me, but I'm just frozen on camera. So let me see how I can do that from here without, if I jump out, I'll just come back in because I don't think I can shut my off without, yeah. All right, so let me do that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, guys. For those who are listening, you are listening to Willows Bend with Donna Gorton on the Soma Fusion Media Network. If you are wanting to call in tonight, the call-in number is 929-436-2866 with the meeting ID number 522-657-2748. I'm going to repeat that. 929-436-2866 with the meeting ID number 522-657-2748. If you haven't already done so, go check out the Soma Fusion Media Facebook page, like, share, and subscribe, and go over to the YouTube page where this show will be uploaded over there for all of you to see in the reruns. But you are back now, Donna. Welcome back.
Hopefully we stay back. Holy cow, that was weird. Yeah, so sorry guys, I apologize. I guess it was on my side that my camera's drunk and doing its own thing now tonight. So, all right, so back to the topic then. Thank you, Katie. All right, so the experts aren't in total agreement as to who exactly built Derinkuyu. I'm here. Where are you? I froze for a minute, Annette, so I had to go out of Zoom altogether and come back in. So hopefully will stay working again. My camera was drunk apparently and took a left turn in Albuquerque or something, stopped working for a minute on me, because everybody could hear me still, which was weird. But so Darren Kuyu might have existed before 1200 BCE, which is before the current era. So go back to our year zero and keep going back, 1200 years. It may have already been there by then. I'm sorry you had a hard time finding me. Pamela, if there's ever a time you want to see the show, come into the group and just wait for the feed to start, and it'll pop in or pop up, and just refresh periodically, whatever. But it'll pop up if you're not getting the notification, and the feed will start in the group, and then just click on it to open it, and then you'll have chat. So it has 18 levels. Now, some of them are only a few of the 18 levels are accessible today, because the site wasn't actually rediscovered until the 1960s. So nobody knew it was there. So at its height, it was a fully functioning metropolis capable of sustaining 20,000 people underground. Researchers have found sleeping quarters, bathrooms, kitchens, foods and weapons storage, schools, churches, tombs. There may have even been a tunnel connecting Derinkuyu to another underground city in the next district over, which would be kind of like the equivalent of the next county over from where we are, and how we separate townships and so forth in the United States. I think that this place that it might connect to would be the equivalent of this. So there may even be a tunnel that connects the two places. And that place, which we're also going to cover tonight, is called Kaymakli. And it kind of hints to the fact, if they did, that these civilizations may have had contact with each other and cooperated with each other underground, which is a really super interesting idea and would make sense in light of, all these ancient sites we're going to cover. I'm going to throw this one out there now, but we'll talk more about it as the show goes on. That there's been the research for this show has kind of got me thinking that these underground cities don't just exist, on the other side of the world in some obscure place. Excuse me. How much is to rent? Right, Karen? I'd go there too. They're everywhere. There have even been signs that there's some in the United States as well. And so what happened within all of these different cultures that led people to going underground to live? What was happening above ground? Now, there are already some theories in existence that are considered pseudoscience. Wars amongst, related to Earth climate changes, to individual site thing where of each of these places that led them to find shelter underground, and power would that have been in all of these same places that to around similar time frames worldwide? Probably not, unless it was something much more on a global scale. Damn it, I froze again. Okay. Go back out and see. What the hell?
Okay, I think Donna froze again. Let's try again. She's just exiting out of Zoom and coming back in again. So hang tight, guys. I'm not sure if Donna is having problems on her end. But you got me. No, actually, Aaron, it's not Facebook, what you said. Excuse my French. No, it's actually, I'm broadcasting perfectly fine. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear me. But it's just a little glitch on the device or something like that. So your guess is as good as mine, but this is radio. This is live broadcasting. We always have technical difficulties every now and again. So nothing wrong with that.
I have never had this happen before, ever. So I can't imagine what is wrong on my side. Everything looks fine on my side of things. So I apologize, guys. I'm possessed. I might be. Yeah, I don't know. I've never experienced this in any live show in 3 years where it's done this many times. So
It's live radio, it's live video broadcasting. It's fine. It's not a big deal. These things happen. We're still on the air. We haven't cut the broadcast in any way whatsoever. If we were cutting the broadcast, there would definitely be an issue because you'll definitely know about it.
Yeah.
But no, it just might be a little technical glitch on your side. Nothing to worry about. One little bit. Hi guys who are saying hello to me in chat. So I'm going to go back behind the veil and let Donna continue.
Yeah, I don't know, Renee, if it's bad reception. I mean, I'm showing full Wi-Fi and everything looks perfectly normal on my side. So I really am not sure why I keep freezing, but Facebook's been acting up all day. Stacey says with other lives, I was doing a Matt Frazier live class and I was doing it at Jim too. Well, we go live through Zoom and then she does her magic behind the scenes to broadcast it out everywhere, which I'm not sure all what that entails, different platforms and things. But yeah, so whilst we're connecting in the group for you to view the show, it's not coming from Facebook. So I'm not going live via Facebook technically. So I don't know if that makes a difference or what your friend was going live in earlier or not. But yeah, we go live using Zoom to get on the air and then we send it out through magical fairy dust and Katie magic everywhere. He was on Zoom too. Okay, so maybe it's a Zoom glitch. I don't know. Either way, we're gonna rock this out and keep going. So that kind of was my idea of once, I know, right, Erin? Is that what was going on globally around the same time frame that led to all these civilizations going underground to exist and I mean, these sites would have taken, or even with advanced technology, would have taken a long time to build, let's face that, by the sheer size of them, to be able to hold, 20,000, 50,000 people. They would have had to been, huge. It would have taken a long time to build these things and then stock them with supplies enough to hold people in there for 20 years or whatever. So what was happening at that time to cause them to go underground? That was kind of my question through that. Karen says, Facebook is messed. I reported 3 comments for hate speech. Person said the exact same thing each time. 2 didn't go against Facebook guidelines. 1 did. Same exact thing was said, word for word. Hey, I got called out once for hate speech, but they wouldn't tell me what I said. And everybody who knows me knows I am not like that as a person. I don't go, bashing anybody, never mind racist stuff. So I have no idea what I did wrong. They wouldn't tell me they wouldn't give me the comment. They just said that I busted for it or warned for it. So no clue. So like I said, it's a huge, massive site. It's pretty amazing. It was a thing they had on the table devoted to one. It had gotten chosen as yet. So the following images are from Darren Kuyu, the Ganford Post cartoon toaster on the right. Yeah, it's just craziness. So here is better hold my channel here. So there we go. Here's the underground passageways in Darren Kuyu. I mean, there's massive amounts of precision in there. The holes that you see up towards the ceiling, those are air vents that lead the surface for fresh air, that can breathe down there. And those are located throughout. But if you look really close, way in the background of the picture, there's flights of stairs back there, and there's a doorway at the very back of the photo that it just keeps going. This is massive in there. So Jake, don't push me. I love you, but don't push me. Okay. Now, this is kind of close representation Now, like I said at the beginning, sounding weird again. I better not freeze again. If I do, I will go out, guys, and I will come back in. So no worries there, right? I shouldn't have had a notification just sound. Yeah, I'm blocked on my notifications, so I'm okay. So at the beginning of the Darren Kuyu information, I said how only a few levels were accessible. So they did kind of a fake model of what the areas look like. So I got a screenshot of that. So I've noticed when you show pictures, it starts getting weird, which is odd that would do that, but let me get my pen here for a pointer. Get over here. Okay. So up here in the picture, these are all buildings of the city of above there in Kuyu and in Turkey. And these are it's like a mock-up of what it looks like in those subterranean levels are accessible to the public. So those are just like miniatures, but still quite cool. A comment for bullying when I called my cousin a stinker. Wow. Yeah, that's when I think that the bots or whatever it is are handling Facebook, not live people. So here's some more images of some of the underground stuff. Now on this photo up here, top, this one there, that is a door. So all of the doors I've noticed through all of the sites that I have photos of, all of the doors underground have that same round wheel shape to them, and they would just roll it back and forth. Whoever outside of that door couldn't get them open. In some cases, in an invasion or whatever, close so you can see the detail of the top pictures. Like cubbyholes and chairs and walkways, kind of like hallways. That one woman is standing below one of the air vents on the bottom left hand side picture. So it's they got creative. Let me see here. So here are some more pictures of some of the passageways. In one of them, there's a couple people who are walking coming through one of the doorways, but they're all the stone wheels and shapes that they were using for doors in different places. And again, I do find interesting that regardless of what ancient site it is, in what location, they all the same shape. You'll see that some of the other photos there now for sure. So yeah, they're so uniform in the design of those wheelized shaped doors, the circle doors. And I can't imagine how much those must weigh to shift and move. So this is a drawing of what a play would look like completely underground. So the first one I was kind of a mock-up. It was like a model, that they use. And Max is back. I'm still okay on my side, Renee, so I'm not sure. But for now, I'm good. So the next one is a drawing of all the different, we'll see what I mean. So yeah, only when I show pictures, maybe my camera, just a ton of pictures for all of these sites. And that's the only way you're going to have a handle on what they look like. So this is all the levels of Darren Kuyu. Each of the places are rooms that are built underground, interconnected by all the tunnels and the different walkways stuff. Pretty amazing. And again, it could support 20,000 people under there. I hate they're behind me at the start of a show. Let me move. If you're getting down or doing just shifting, whatever. All right, so give me a second to shift over because do that. He'll sneak behind my normal spot, and then I don't find him until I turn around or back from somewhere, and I'll be like, he stole my spot. So, all right, we're good now. Let me go back here. This is one of the chambers, and again, the hole in the ceiling is to let in light and air, but you can see, you know, there are stairs and stuff. Yeah, she is recording a non-robot copy. So you can see some stairs up on the right side of the picture. And even though in the drawing, it, you know, it has the different levels going up and down. Yes, they're up and down, but you're not walking straight downhill, you know, at a 90-degree angle or something to get to the different levels. So it's, you know, all kinds of different. This was thought to be possible a tomb space, but they weren't entirely sure. Nobody dug it up, of course, to disturb it. But I thought that the vaulted ceiling arches kind of cool. So there's that. Just my hair looks kind of cruddy today from the heat and humidity. It's clean, I guarantee it. I just put it up out of the way because it's like 90 degrees here today. So this shows the guy, like a visitor, kind of sitting in one of those little cubby holes in there. Okay. I mean, that space was actually used for, but it gives you an idea of the size that a, you know, a grown could fit in there. You get for saying it looked like he was gonna shank a bitch. Okay. Renee. I probably will up once we're done with the shows, but after that I can put them in. I did post video in the about one of the sites we're going to cover in a little bit that I thought was interesting and pertained to it, because obviously me holding the tab to play a video wouldn't be, you know, too entertaining, well, so I just went ahead and posted the video from YouTube into group. Oh, you said it about a picture about yourself. Okay, yeah, and they're gonna get on you for that. They flag for having low self-esteem, Karen. Way to go, Facebook. So this is another one of those little toys that they have in there, and you know, it doesn't. The pictures weren't labeled as to what different sites were, but and again, a lot of these have yellowed hue to the pictures. That's more my camera doing that, not necessarily the picture, but oh, definitely amazed at how resourceful they were. And you know, so many things have been found around the world hinting at a bloody brilliant ancient civilization once existed on the planet, and yet science still doesn't want to full on own it. I mean, there are some scientists individually who are kind of looking at that now, and while not coming out and openly saying, yes, this happened, or these people must have been this, and this, but at least they're starting to kind of say, is that it's possible that ancient civilization existed. So, but it's not become a universally accepted idea among science, which what they're holding back for, other than disrupting the actual foundation of science and the theory of evolution and Darwinism and such, because it would shake that up. There's been innumerable sites and archaeological finds that show that humans, or you know, humanoids were present in different areas millions of years prior to when they were, you know, human evolution says we existed on the planet. And so they have to completely run a timeline, you know, they don't. So I think that these underground cities, you know, would have had to have taken advanced civilizations to build these places, because they are so expansive and so in-depth and so structurally sound that they are completely still standing without assistance, you know, 3,000, 4,000 years after being built. And there's been nothing, you know, structurally wrong with these places, and it's all these years, and it held, you know, who knows how long populations lived under there actively using it. So that also brings in the question that through wear and tear, so to speak, it held up through that, and to support a population of 20,000 people. That's a lot of people. Government confirmed aliens. Wonder if any Freedom of Information Act papers are available. Probably not yet, because it's not full on disclosure yet, Karen. They're never going to do that unless it puts them in a good light, but they're not going to fully say, oh yeah. Freaked out as I get closer, claustrophobic. I think I died in a cave in and was buried alive. Well, could have been Tanya. Hey Joe, how are you, lady? Long time no see. So the next site we're going to talk about is called Petra in Jordan. So this ancient city was rediscovered by a Swiss explorer named Johann Ludwig Burckhardt back in the early part of the 19th century. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of redacted information. So the site is called Petra, which is the Greek word for rock. Quite original, right? And as the ancient city is carved directly into the sandstone. Now, there is like an outside structure of the place, but it does go underground as well. So some archaeologists believed it was occupied by an ancient civilization some 9,000 years ago, which, again, that's kind of hinting that some people are saying, yes, this had to be an ancient advanced civilization. Rome took it sometime after 106 CE, current era, but it was abandoned in the 7th century of the current era. Now, Petra, at its height, may have been akin to Derinkuyu and housed some 20,000 people. And like Derinkuyu, holds houses, temples, theaters, tombs, elaborate transportation and irrigation systems that allow them to thrive underground. Archaeologists say only really 15% of the city has been uncovered. The vast majority of it is still underground and untouched. So they're still, documenting this site underground and heavily made it down through the first, 15% of the whole underground areas of it. So they don't know how far and how extensive it is. So here's the picture of the outside of it. And it says the beauty of the stone-walled city. So this was one of the cultures where rather than bringing rock in to build what they were building, they carved it directly from like cliff sides and built it in, using the cliffside, they carved it out of the cliff. So, and turned it into part of the cliff. So this is the front one to the front of Petra. Turn it here, hold it. Go angle there, but you can see how extensively it, and even though it's not a close picture, that's some pretty in-depth carving there, and very, very geometrically aligned and the 9 yards. People with hammers and chisels aren't going to be able to do that, I would think. Now, let me see what other pictures we have about that. I think, let me see. Yeah, okay. In some of these subsequent photos, you're going to see where it looks like, I first thought that, how like if a picture has water markings on it. Now, one of them does, however, it's sandstone. And anybody who knows anything about rocks knows that sandstone can be multicolored and multi-hues in it. So this has that in there in some of these pictures. So it's not like a miscoloration of the photo. That's the actual rock colors, which is beautiful. So I just wanted to explain that because the first photo shows some of that, and you're gonna be like, why is it like 3 colors? All right, so here is part of, let's see if we can get that. There we go, Petra. So you can see, the striations and the colorations there from the sandstone. And let's see here, pull it down. You can also see on the walls that are shown here, all different colors. I mean, it's got to be beautiful down all the different levels of it. So those are just some of the couple of ways that are in, underground. And again, they've only excavated like 15% of it so far. So they've got a ways to go yet on this site. And yet I agree they have had help. So this is a hole that is letting light and air into the site. There. So it's got, those nice beams of light. So they may have had something special, or had that been kind of an altar or something, in that little space where the light comes down in there. And yeah, typically, Tanya, we have fears that in your current life, nothing tragic or what has happened around the fear and anxiety that you get now. Yeah, it very much could be something you're either from a past life or your last life of how you died. I did a reading once with a woman who, in that I saw where we had drowned in a coaching accident, and she's like, she started flipping out and she's like, oh my God. I said, what is it? And she said, well, I've had this massive fear of water my entire life. I've never been able to learn how to swim. I can't even be sitting on a dock or any sort of a boat of any kind. Like I have a hard time taking a bath. She just has this horrible fear of water, and I saw us drowning. So, and I wouldn't, I didn't know anything about that beforehand. So this shows like the irrigation tunnel system that they had under there to bring in fresh water and, to be able to grow plants and things under there. I make sure it can close in spaces. If not for that, I would love to sit there a while. Yeah, so I mean that again, we saw you from the lifetime. So that's their irrigation system. My mom's scared of water for no reason too. Yeah. And she mentioned that to me ahead of time. I had no idea. And, but I was describing the drowning, and anyone who's had one of those readings with me knows I re-experienced the emotions of it too. So there was that, but we're done. I'm like, what's the matter? I could sleep in a coffin, right? Yeah, it's always been a joke that I could sleep anywhere, anytime, any place, because I'm always sleep deprived. Now, these I almost think are natural formations within the cavern system of, you can have like little lakes and underground. So I think that's what these are, because there was no information on them having been built. So you can see there's two of them here. One way, I do better pointing with my pen. So there's one, where's my pen? Way background back here. And then there's the one up in the floor there. And you can see all the stalagmites and stuff and the stalactites in there as well. So they left the cavern pretty natural. So it may have been, a bath site or a sacred space for, some sort of ceremonial things. My husband has to leave a light on in the back bathroom, so I will even go in there. Maybe being 5 foot helps. Very beautiful, yes. Let's see here. Okay. This shows how big it is because there's a couple people on donkeys, so they must have taken donkeys to explore the site or whatever. So just to kind of give you an idea of the size sense of it. And here's another one with the different striations. Now, what I find interesting in this picture is it does look like they built it using like separate stones, but it's like the striations of it kind of line up, which are pretty cool. And I would say not an easy feat to get it to do. They did. This picture is labeled as inside a former home, and this is still in Petra in Jordan. So that's inside somebody some former occupant's house. I wouldn't mind that. And the good thing, about underground caverns, they stay pretty temperate year round. So, you wouldn't have to worry about climate temperature change and stuff. Okay, so that's for the next site. So the next site, that was it for that one anyway. The next one is Kaimalka or Malki. Sorry, try that again, Donna. Kaimaki, which was the one that was suspected to have a tunnel going from there to Derinkuyu, in the same area of Turkey. So it's like central Turkey area. So it's built within the citadel of Kamalki in the central Anatolia area of Turkey. And the first builders started carving out caves from the soft volcanic rock. And it's believed that the site got expanded to its current size by the time of the Byzantine era, which was 330 current era to the year 1453. Stop being number dyslexic, when the Byzantine Empire fell is kind of when it stopped being expanded up. Did my chat freeze? I might have. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Each night lights, blue light, dark, blacked out, battery. They may be, Tanya. I've never read anything that talks about whether it is or isn't, or anyone's experienced anything under there, but boy, the energy just walking underground under there, almost, I would think, feel like you're watched, because of course stone absorbs the energy of what's around you from whatever's going on. So anyone sensitive to energy, I would think, be able to pick up on that. Okay, so Jake, stop stabbing me. Experts have found that about 100 tunnels around which home in the underground city, and also discovered storage tables, and so stay. Amazing. On Derinkuyu, the tunnels here are more narrow and steeply inclined, so it's not quite as expansive and wide, and it's more sloped to get from place to place. 4 levels of the ancient underground city are currently open to visitors. So let me show you some shots of that. Now, the first picture is a remarkable block formation of andesite, a volcanic rock, with several holes used in Kaimaki for cold copper processing. Now, they talked a lot about in this research that, that could be a sign for the advancedness of the civilization, in that they knew how to process copper, which is a combination of metals, and is notorious for being difficult to make into solid hard objects, and that they found some like sword work and metallurgy where it's as strong as steel. So obviously there's some advanced knowledge there to be able to create that using copper. So I think that they maybe would pour some of the copper into those to mix it with, or I don't know, it just says that was used for copper. So I don't know, I find the ignorance of science and admitting all of it is just crazy. So again, here's another picture of the stone doors. And you'll see what I'm talking about, how similar they are to other sites. And it's used to protect the city. Again, people could put it from the inside, but not from the outside. So invaders, whatever, couldn't get in. So again, that circular, huge, massive, wheel-shaped door that would shift it in. And a lot of places talk about having waited so it, to move it for those closing it from the inside, that it wouldn't weigh that much to move it. But, someone trying to move it from the outside would have a hellacious time. It would be weighted on sides. So, in the Derinkuyu site, they have a little hole in the center of it, but the site doesn't use that. So slight differences, same idea. So this is like a depiction of what it looks like underground with their different cavern systems. So like up above, you see the city up above there, but this is all the underground connecting tunnels and little rooms and such. What you doing? So, and I find it interesting too that the stone is much more pitted. Like, now, did that come from, them chiseling it out? Quite possibly, but the whole of the ceiling walls, the pillars holding them, all have that like pitted to them. Or did it come from the fact that they're doing it out of volcanic rock, which is naturally porous? I'm not sure. I mean to go take him out in a few hours now, so I'll see what he's doing. But so there's that. And so if you look a little bit as close as I can, so you can kind of see what I mean by the porous look to the rock. So again, they're carving all this out of volcanic rock. Way in the background of the picture, you can see a few of the stairs going up on the left side into a space. Did you need to go back out? Because it's been a while. Did you go out? Go out of the door and let me know. So it looked like he's faking trying to move one of those stone doors from the outside because let's see if I can get it here. So back here is like another doorway. So here's like the stone wheel thing. So it's just showing her standing next to how big it would be. To the side from the outside of space, but then go way back in on that side. So I probably am gonna have to go take him out, guys. I apologize. You know how that goes, what we do. As always, well, he got up probably about 6 o'clock, so has been a few hours for us. He very well probably does have to go. So this next one, I'll show this one and then I'll go take him out and I'll take you guys with me and just kind of keep talking as well. These ones were labeled in another language, which I don't speak, so I can't tell you what the types of them are, but gives you a sense of the space anyway and how they differ from those other sites we've covered so far. Similar but different styles and such. So, and I'm gonna only take the tablet with me, not my phone, because when both devices straight and not, going wonky, losing one of them, whatever. So I'll just put the tablet with me, guys. I'll run them out real quick. Again, as always, my apologies, but for those who may be new to seeing my show, my Dalmatian is elderly, and to avoid having a possible accident, it is always better to take him out. Oh, he usually has to go every 2 to 3 hours. Go ahead. Go, you gotta go out? Well, move it. So I'm gonna get my walker up here. It's not feeding time, so don't even get the cat food argument going in your head, because that definitely won't happen yet, because it's way too early. Recycle this out of the way, my mail. We got so much junk mail, it's ridiculous. They should just save their paper. Go ahead. Might be able to leave the door open now. This might start to cool down. Porch is warm. It's so hot today. Oh my gosh, it was like 90. So on my porch, because most of the windows don't open, no air really comes in. And so even if the screen door open while he's out, it doesn't let a lot in to change the temperature of it. So go ahead, don't go potty. Hurry up, because mommy's on air. I'd have to keep making him come in sooner because I'd be like just sitting here and starting to break out in the sweat from just sitting still. Dude, I'm like stewing in my own juices here. Ew. Go ahead and go potty. Hurry up. Wicky wick. It seems like they mowed everybody's lawns except for mine today. Mine's getting quite shaggy, but my landlord is kind of inconsistent with, he's not on a regular schedule with it, which is crazy. My one neighbor's next door, I woke up and I heard a weed whacker going. I'm like, oh, they must be here to mow the lawn. Looked out the window. I said, no, it's on the other side of the fence. So he had to go out. So I got up and take him out. And this guy must have been tired on waiting on their landlord to get their lawn done. So he's trying to weed whack all of their lawn with the weed whacker, which I've done it before, but that's a lot of work. Come on, Jake, hurry up. Jaker. Come on, dude. Jake. Normally it's not quite dark out. When it is, he comes in like right after he goes. Come on, baby. Jake, let's go. If he doesn't respond, I'll go reel him in. It's like fishing line. You just kind of pull a lead line in until he gets a message. Come on, Jake. Let's go, babe. No, wrong direction. Come on. I apologize, guys. I do. I hate it when he does this. And I would love to be able to get through a show without him having to go out and interrupt it. I really would. But at the same time, if I don't let him out, well, he's going to pee on the bed or the floor or what have you, which don't want that either. Come on, Jake. Let's go. How's about now? Sometimes he just doesn't hear me unless he sees me. Jaker, come on. Let's go. I'm in the middle of a show. Can you please? Come on. All right, it's reeling time. Oh, I'm talking there. Come on. Let's move it, move it, move it. Come on. Come on. How's about now? Get it out from between your toes. Yep. Come on. Trying to come up my ramp backwards. Come on. I'm going to set you down so I can make sure his line continues, but he still continues to get the message. Come on, honey. Mama's still in the show. Come on. Let's not hold up the train here. You know, you're lucky that everybody in Willows loves you, but people who don't know you probably find it rude and irritating, which I can't blame them. It's still a little bit warm to keep the door open. Sorry, Kit Kat. It's gonna cool down maybe another hour from now. Still probably 80, 82 out. Watch out. The house actually stayed pretty cool today, surprisingly. I keep everything open at night and then shut it up before I go to bed in the morning at 7. Okay, sorry guys. Wait a minute, I got an allergy pill on the floor. Don't want them getting that. Nope, nope, nope. Yeah, I love you too, but no, it's nothing for you, I promise. Okay, set that over there for now. Come on up, Jake. I'm not leaving the table pushed out. I have to be able to reach it. Plug you in again. There. Sorry, guys. Oh, Lord. Okay. He is family, but, you know, it's fine if he just went out to come in and came back in. But then, again, when it's still daylight out, he wants to, I got a bug on me. Go on. He wants to go and check out the neighbor's driveway and, you know, see what's going on over there. And then he just gets lost smelling the wind. Yeah, it was about 90 here, too. way too hot for me. Now you have to go. Come on, Jake. '90 is way too hot for me. Okay, what are you? I think it might have been one of those little tiny ants that get very annoying if they get into your house. I think I did accidentally squish it. So I am sorry for taking your life, but you also don't belong crawling on me. Come on, Jake. Come on up. Up, 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 up. Okay, so four levels of that are still are open to the public currently for visitors. The next site is called Erzkonak, and it's inside the northern slopes of Mount Indis in central Anatolia, Turkey. So again, it's still kind of in the same area, but it, separate location, but same part of the country. Yeah, I don't know what my temperature here is. I can look real quick. It'll tell me. It says 75. There's no way it's 75 out. Not yet. Come on, Jake. So inside this place, it was also carved from volcanic granite. Filigree wanting out. See what I started, or see what he started. It's very muggy. Yeah, so we got storms coming too, which I'm feeling that as well. So unlike both Derinkuyu and the Makli, I wanted to put the L in the wrong place in that one. I feel like I got something crawling on me on this arm. It's probably just a hair. Come on up. Jake, no, we're not doing cat food now. We're not doing anything besides you getting up and getting settled. So unlike both of those sites that are also, like I said, in the Anatolia area of Turkey, little girl, you've got to get out of his way. Come on, move. Move out of Jake's way so he stands a chance of getting up on the bed without you blocking everything. She's been doing that all day. Never mind, that's my battery percentage. I hope that it's not 18 out just in Colorado. Jake, come on. Stop spacing out. Hey, the cat's not going to stay out of your way all night, so go ahead. So, it's larger areas, unlike Derinkuyu in the Kaymakli sites. It's larger areas are connected, not constructed, to each other by tunnels with pipe communication. So it's almost like they had their own phone systems, if you will. I almost pictured the old telephone lines that you used to make with a cup and string. So they use pipes, which makes sense because that carries sound, right? So they had pipe communication system coming from all of its different levels and interconnecting it so they could all communicate with each other whenever they chose to without, walking the length of the whole cavern system to go see somebody or give somebody a message or whatever. So I think that's bloody brilliant that they got that going on there. 85 there. Well, yeah, like I said, it's not 75 here. I know that. Let's see what my tablet says here. Yeah, it's not telling me on my main tablet, which it normally does, but my phone says 75 and it's warmer than that. Too warm for the door open yet. I would say that you would think so. Oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling well, Annette. Well, have a good night and we love you. Hope it doesn't kick in all the way. So they had this pipe communication system, which is, again, bloody brilliant. Each room had its own ventilation by additional piping, which helped when the city was sealed or under siege even. Its exact age still is unknown to this day. The city could have housed 60,000 people, triple the size of the other two sites. It was carved 40 meters or 131 feet into the ground and consists of 10 extremely complex floors, only 4 of which are open to the public. makes me wonder why they keep the other one closed if they are activated or, or similarly the other ground area, they have water available to them as well. Ventilation system, winery, and moving stone doors. Right, exactly. We don't know. So let me give you the pictures here. Let's see. This is the beginning of them. So here is one of their, I'm guessing, like doorways or something. It didn't say what it's labeled, but that is, the holes going all the way through. And then in the background of the right side where light's coming in, that would be like a doorway. I can picture the operator where cans hanging down there, That's what I thought of, as like the paper cup and the string system or something. But I mean, even in more modern day, the Mr. Winchester house, she implemented the same pipe system to communicate that big old mansion, where each room has its own like panel, but it uses pipes to carry the sound, and you can isolate it from each room, but you can also communicate like house side if you chose to, but it's a pipe system. I thought it was kind of cool. So she did use the same system in her house. Yes. It's not feeding time, it's early. Okay, so this is just for their passageways, but you can see the difference with how narrow that passageway is compared to the other sites. So even though it's bigger, by 3 times as large as the other sites, and in some ways more advanced, it's still more narrow passageways to go through. So people don't have to walk single file through that. Okay. This is again a different language, so I have no idea what is labeling. Up, I froze again. Shit. Sorry. Okay, let me go out, guys. Hang on. I know I froze. I'll be right back. Dag and nabbit.
And welcome to the late night show. I'm gonna hold the fort for about 2 minutes while we get Donna back. And if any of you guys want to want to call in, again, that call-in number is 929-436-2866 with the meeting ID number 522-657-2748. And I think she's coming right back. Here we go.
Wi-Fi. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm back. Oh, yeah, I froze again. I don't know. At least it's been a few minutes anyway. Stormy here. I thought it was just me. Yeah, no, we've been having issues with connecting all day or through the whole show station. This is like the 3rd time it's done it. So I have to leave Zoom, shut off the window, and then go back in again in order to keep it going. So if it should happen, I will be right back in. Apparently, Stacy was saying how somebody else was using Zoom and they had nothing but issues too. So it's got to be a Zoom problem. So again, here's another picture, and you can see how well carved and straight the stairs are leading up to whatever other level of this is. Again, different language, not mine. Can't tell you what it says, but it shows just the symmetry of that, and that they, made that quite straight. Yeah, no, if I disappear or I freeze up, it's me leaving and then going out and coming back in, because that's the only way to fix it, is shutting off Zoom and then reopening and coming back into the show. So I just ask you to be patient. Zoom's doing what Zoom is doing. That's Darren Kuyu. Okay, so that is that site. Again, a few extra perks, but in the same area of Turkey. I also wonder why so many underground cities in the same area location of Anatolia, Turkey, but separate at the same time. And again, there's no idea how old that last site is to say compared to the other two sites, but lots of similarities, but still separated. I did. This coach was having issues with Zoom earlier too. Yeah, so it's got to be Zoom. Everything shows fine on my end, and it's not Facebook because whilst I access the show in there, that's Katie putting the show there and guys opening into the Zoom show to access chat and stuff. And then she sends it out worldwide via her Katie Magic, sell that broadcasting stuff. So something with Zoom. Homes for Liz, it could have been Tanya, it does make me wonder, like, again, there's 3 different sites. It's thought Darren Kuyu might be connected to that Mockley site, but by a tunnel, but there was no mention of a tunnel connecting to the last, so they may not have been, but they're all still in the area of Anatolia, Turkey. So somebody lived there, obviously. Now, that said, I'm going to throw this out to you as lore, if you will, believe it or not, take it how you want, but in ancient texts, it talks about with Atlantis and Lemuria, if it is true, they existed, which I think it was, but that's my opinion, the destruction of them, that there was mad thermonuclear wars between the two of them, because Lemuria thought that people, each individual people should be able to develop at their own pace and form. Hey, Andy, there you are. Sleep stats, right? That they should be allowed to develop at their own pace and learn and grow as they apply the knowledge. Whereas Atlantis got a little power tree and hungry and said, well, we are the 3 beings here. So it's kind of, we owe it to the people to take them over and we'll be the rulers because we're so much more great and advanced than they are. They're doing a favor. So that's where the conflict came from, was that disagreements between them. So a bunch of thermonuclear wars were said to have happened, in that the evidence of them can be seen in the deserts going around the world today, and even the US, and that the Lemurians went underground and that they had joined with, I believe it's called the Anwar, something like that, peoples, and they had to agree if they were going to go underground and have their own city, that they would abide by the rules of no more fighting, no more, bickering, and it's the betterment of all, the greater good of everyone, and that Atlantis didn't agree to that, so they had their own city that was built underground, which is Talos, which we talked about before, and they had Chris City could hold 50,000 people, but not everybody made it out before the destruction happened that kind of obliterated all of it. It caused like Atlantis's destruction in Lemuria to go down as well. So this kind of, all these ancient sites kind of lends credence to those stories about things like Talos, because obviously all these underground cities are being discovered where they could house, the site house 3 times as many people as the other 2 sites did, and they could survive under there and thrive. So that to me lends credence to the story about Talos and its existence under Mount Shasta in Washington State in the United States, being a possibility, even though no one's ever walked in and said, hi, here I am, and there you are. It's said to exist under there. And is it possible? I say possibly, because all these other sites exist. So, and even though they're no longer occupied, I mean, there couldn't be active somewhere on the earth. It's out there. So anyway, next we're gonna cover our dealing with how it all seems like governments were getting involved trying to stifle the information from getting out. So the first one is the Labyrinth of Egypt. Now, this is like an underground city, but it's a place believed to contain, in all hieroglyphic language, all the knowledge of all ancient Egypt, including Mayans and Atlanteans. I might be moving to Washington or Southern California. Maybe I'll be able to stop at Shasta. That would be cool. I've heard that the mountain itself, if you're hiking on the mountain, that has that very same energetic vibe to it. Like it just feels like a sacred place. So, I mean, I don't discount that it could be possible that it could be underground city. No one's ever dedicated any funds to finding that, though, or done, the ground to radar spacing, or to size out the area, see this possible ground to see them under. So be sure. So these underground cities kind of lead me to believe it's possible. I'm only hiking if I'm alone or carrying hubs. Yeah, and it says basically, or it's been said that, you might encounter one of their beings outside, if they feel like you're ready to handle meeting them, because they're supposed to be like much taller than the average human is. So they don't want to startle people, so they don't often show themselves on the surface. So Labyrinth, Egypt is an underground. It's not an underground city, but it's a place contained all in hieroglyphs of ancient Egypt, including Lemurians and Atlanteans. It's been described by a number of ancient writers, and it's thought to be an enormous collective tomb of the 12 kings of Egypt who built Egypt, and a sacred place for crocodiles. You would feel super short, yeah. I mean, we're talking like giant, and there's been disagreeing science admitting that giant skeletons have been found and they've been magically disappeared. So a research team proved that the labyrinth exists, but the Egyptian government refused further study of the site. Its exact age is unknown, but at the time of Herodotus's visit, it was already at least over 1,300 years old. And I mean, he's Greek-Roman time period. So, he visited and he wrote extensively about the site and what it contained and so forth. So it's located at Homer, about 56 miles south of modern Cairo, and it has sacred chambers, passages, shrines, and tombs. I'm going to leave, this is where I mentioned earlier, I was going to leave chat to read a passage from Herodotus' description of it, so that, because my phone photographed it better, so I want to be able to read it. So I'm going to leave the chat in a group for just a second and access my photos so I can read the passage to you, because it is pertinent to the show, obviously. So let me just find it real quick. Is this it? Let's see. Back. Just have to find the beginning passage. Is it here? Should be this photo being the first one, I would think. I'll just start reading, and I'm sure it's the right one. So inside the building is 2 stories and contains 3,000 rooms, of which half are underground, and the other half directly above them. Was taken through the rooms in the upper story. I'll say them is my own observation, but the underground ones I can speak only from report, because the Egyptians in charge refused to let me see them, as they contain tombs of the kings who built the labyrinth, and also the tombs of the sacred crocodiles. Oh, the flash is on. I can't even read that. There it is. Carved figures in each court exquisitely built of white marble and surrounded by a column. Sorry, it's small. For a long time, the true location of the labyrinth remained unknown. Since Herodotus visited the legendary labyrinth of Egypt 2,500 years ago, the buildings appeared in the midst of time. So that's where I'll go back to that, pick up where I was. Go. Hopefully I'll go back in. Cool. There you go. I know secret crocodiles, well, it's crocodiles. What made them sacred, it didn't say, it just called them sacred crocodiles. So, let's see. So in 1888, a professor, Flinders Petrie, found the actual site of the Egyptian labyrinth, and it was about 997 feet long and 800 feet wide. In other words, big enough to hold a door. His expedition, using Herodotus's description, he thought he found the Hawara pyramid. Now, in 2008, and this next piece is what Scott, the video posted was in earlier today. In 2008, the Madaha expedition scanned parts of the base area and found strong suggestions of complex chambers and walls that several meters thick under to considerable depths. Research confirmed that there were say that fast, pyramid of Amenemhat III. These scans showed vertical walls of average thickness of several meters that were connected to form quite a number of closed rooms. Given the huge dimension found from the scans, the team showed that the labyrinth existed, but the full scope and total size of the shape couldn't yet be concluded without further exploration. However, the Egyptian government had their ideas. The results of the Mada expedition were published in 2008. Now, the Mada, why it's called that is there was a gentleman who actually was an artist and who was pretty well-to-do. He had heard about this and he wanted to know more about it, didn't think it existed. So he funded this expedition in 2008 to go out there and check out the site as much as they could and see, and that convinced him that it was actually a real thing. So they published their results with the contrast in the scientific journal of IHE, which I'm not sure what that stands for, but it didn't say. Shortly thereafter, secret of the Supreme Council of Antiquities asked to stop communication on the topic, which result in the results of what they found on the expedition. Now, allegedly owing to Egyptian national security. So they basically, the Supreme Council of Antiquities in Egypt asked that, like, you don't talk about this anymore publicly, and it's a matter of national security, which I'm not sure how it would be, and that's just the excuse they used. But the expedition team did at least set up a website with their findings, but there's been no further explorations have been allowed there. So I got some images of that to show you. So and I've heard that about more than one thing, that the Egyptian government is kind of dragging their feet. They've done it with the Sphinx.
Donna, are you showing a picture?
I'm getting ready to, yeah.
Okay, you've broken up again. You're frozen.
I haven't shown it yet. Yeah, you see I froze looking like I'm stoned or something. So I will be back, guys. Give me a second. Holy cow. This time it wasn't pictures.
For again and the late night program. Ah. Who here is listening is having a thunderstorm coming right towards them? Because I know I am. It's 85 degrees over here, and it's definitely going to rain at some point. If not, it's muggy. I'm not going to blame you, Karen. I really not.
I'm keeping you on your toes tonight, aren't I, Katie? Holy cow. I wasn't even actually showing the picture yet. I just had picked up the tablet to find the picture. So it was not even on screen yet. So that time it was a Zoom thing, I guess. So here is the Hawara pyramid, which is quite decidedly different than all the main pyramids in Egypt. Yeah, no, we're supposed to get storms coming here too. I've been feeling that one coming. So that's the pyramid that they're talking about. So all of the other stuff is around that pyramid where they use the ground penetrating radar on. Okay, so that's the next one. So there really wasn't a lot else to show other than, like, you know, they showed the high-tech scans, which I understand archaeologically because I've seen them and learned how to read them, but they showed, you know, these features. And how the ground penetrating radar does is it bounces, they drag like a sled type of thing over an area, and it bounces the radar down through the ground and back up again to their equipment. And it shows you signs of, you know, if there's disruptions in the earth, it may give you a vague shape of it and give you an idea if there are multiple layers to it. So again, the video of what they did find is in Willows Bend. So it should be the top part of the page. So just, you know, look in there. It's only a couple minutes long, but it was interesting. And that's the guy whose photo shows on the front of the video. He's the one who funded the 2008 expedition. So, and it's the information that Chip does want to keep being discussed. So, okay, so next site is the Shin Av site. This is the secret underground city on Death Valley, California. Now, the next couple sites are very interesting because there are massive descriptions of them, yet surviving artifacts or signs that they were, you know, they were supposed to involve the Smithsonian Institution, and the Smithsonian Institution has been thought to have hidden different materials that found before and stashed them away from public food, never to be seen or heard again. That's a well-known fact that they have on that. So yeah, definitely it's not. Star conspiracy theory, right? So this one of those. So the Shin Av, which is spelled like shin, like your leg, -AU -AV, is the secret underground Death Valley, California date. So evidence of an ancient unknown race having inhabited this place, tunnel, etc., is in the form of, there's also been found strange mummies and ancient artifacts were found by the Paiute indigenous people, who are the American Indians who live in that area of Death Valley. The legend describing an underground world, if you have heard of it, describes a long-ago chief who had lost a wife and, you know, never really recovered the grief of it. So filled with sorrow, he took his earthly body into the spirit land. Could be aliens, could be. something keeps crawling on me. He encountered, similarly to the underworld, all nature of horrific beasts and evil spirits come out into the chamber of sunlight, where he stepped from a bridge onto the green meadows of the land of the Shin of. It is Ohio. So it was taken to a great amphitheater where many happy Paiutes were dancing, and the chief said he wanted to see his wife. He was told once he found her, he had to leave that valley without looking back. Now, this has shades of the biblical story of Lot and his wife, where, you know, you are not supposed to look back, and his wife did, and she got turned into a pillar of salt. Similar threads of that. So, exactly. So then we're supposed to look back at all, and together they fled, and he forgot his promise not to look back. Alone. He joined his tribe and spoke for the rest of his days of the beauty of the land of Shin. Now, in author Jim Brandon's book, Weird America, right up your alley, is he a relative, Karen? He relays this story, and that in 1920, an Indian guide named Tom Wilson and his grandfather had discovered the catacombs underground. Via word of mouth came another story of two men who had fallen to the bottom of an old mine shaft by Wingate Pass in the southwest corner of Death Valley in California. Now, I talked about in one of my other shows, I can't remember which was, but I remember the theory is very familiar, and we kind of speculated on it. You'll see how familiar it is in this again. So, in the southwest corner of Death Valley, on the route used by mules to haul borax out of Death Valley in the 1800s. So it said that they fell through a mine shaft, and the two men claimed to have found themselves in a underground cavern that they claimed went on northward for about 20 miles into the heart of the Panamint Mountains. They claimed to have found themselves in the heart of an ancient underground city. If you have close, believe me, you'll know it from a satellite. Yeah, I've heard. Now, the two men claimed that they found. Now, if you note, the similarities in the story they told they found are similar in nature to what the descriptions of the other sites are is. So it sounds pretty valid. So they claim that several pictures of maize clad in fine leather and wore armband and had gold spears. The underground city they saw had been lit by an ingenious system of lights fed by subterranean gases that they accidentally discovered. Didn't say how they accidentally discovered it, but that they accidentally found out. Yeah, anything I've seen, I've never been able to tell, is it a satellite? No. It's never been close up. I never had binoculars or a camera on, so just so they also described finding a large polished round table that looked like hard timber, giant statues of solid gold, stone vaults with drawers filled with gold bars and all kinds of gemstones, heavy stone wheelbarrows perfectly balanced and made so even a child could use them, huge stone doors perfectly balanced with counterweights and other, quote, incredible sights. They brought some treasures back to the surface as proof, arranging a deal with certain people, including scientists from the Smithsonian Museum. You guys, for those who are long-term members, does this story sound familiar? Certainly to me. I don't remember what the show was I did it on, but it talked about this. This matches the description of what that Paiute elder talked about and was passed down in instructions that he encountered in that of space that of that underground city encountered. So this kind of like vibes with that. So they did bring some treasure up and trying to arrange a meeting with scientists from the Smithsonian Museum. They then claimed that a friend stole the treasure that they brought to surface. And once the scientists got out to them to join them, it had been after a series of heavy rains, and which is very common in Death Valley. And when they do get rains, it's like a washout of everything. So this is believable to me based on what I know of the weather patterns with rains there. Could no longer find entrance that they fell through. So it remains a great mystery even to this day. Interestingly, there has been passageways and mammoth chambers found, a great underground belt of the Grand Canyon, which will come next. So next picture, let's see here. So this is the Panamint Mountains that they claimed the tunnel extended out under. Pretty expansive place. The mountains are in the distance there. The hot place, but it's pretty expansive. So it could be an underground citadel under there. Why not? We don't know there isn't, because they never further researched it and never could find what they went in for. So we have only their story to go by. But again, the description pretty well matches what the Paiute legend said, in my opinion, in many ways anyway. So now the Grand Canyon Citadel. So in 1909, a cover story in the newspaper described, quote, the latest news of progress of the explorations of what is now regarded by scientists as not only one of the old archaeological discoveries in the United States, but one of the most valuable in the world, which was brought to the city yesterday by G.E. Kincaid, the explorer who found the underground citadel of the Grand Canyon. Now, I don't know about you all, but I never heard about some great citadel being found in the Grand Canyon before, even hints of it. I've never heard of this story before this. So cover up says what? The explorer, so he found the great underground citadel of the Grand Canyon during a trip from Green River, Wyoming, down Colorado in a wooden boat to Yuma several months ago. There. The Smithsonian Institute was funding the expedition, according to Kincaid, and he had made discoveries conclusively proving that the that inhabited this mysterious cat, I couldn't read my own writing there, was of, quote, an Oriental origin. Now remember, this was written back in 1909, so they didn't change the terms to Asian yet. So they still reference that stuff as being Oriental. So it said that he thought that it was of Oriental origin and possibly from Egypt, tracing back to Ramses. Nearly a mile underground, 1,408 feet below the surface of the lung had dug into to find another chamber, which radiates scores of passageways like spokes of a wheel. According to Professor S.C. Jordan of the Smithsonian Institute, several hundreds of rooms were discovered, one being 854 feet and another being 634 feet. Recent finds there include war weapons, copper instruments, and being sharp-edged and hard steel. Apparently, there was some tablet found that had Egyptian hieroglyphs also on there that they didn't have the means to discern what it said, at least out. So the explorer stated that the entrance was nearly inaccessible as the entrance is 1,486 feet down a sheer canyon wall located on government land, and no visitor is allowed to enter there, so that scientists would be, quote, safe from interruption or, quote, otherwise. He explains he was journeying down the Colorado River and looking for a mineral, some 42 miles up the river from the El Tovar Crystal Canyon. I saw on the east wall, above a shelf hidden from view of the river, was the mouth of the cave. He saw steps leading from that entrance 30 yards away, which at the time of the building was even with the level of the river. So, the river levels have changed extensively from when it was built. So originally there were stairs that, instead of shearing, shit. Frozen again, dang it. Okay, sorry guys, hang on. Thank you, Sandy. I wasn't looking up because I was reading. No, wait a minute. Wi-Fi. Sorry guys, thank you, Sandy, because I saw your comments and didn't. Then I looked up and saw, oh, I am frozen. So thank you. Yeah, so that means they're coming up here, Sandy. So I don't know if you were still able to hear me of what all I just read. Let me know that while I was frozen, did you still hear my voice talking? So I don't reread the same stuff over again. Wait for an answer here before I continue. Yes, love you too, Tanya. That's the problem when I get talking or reading. We heard reading. Okay, you heard nothing. Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, Aaron's saying, yes, you guys heard us. Yes, we could hear you. Okay, so I guess it's just Karen didn't hear me. All right, so basically he reported finding stairs that at the time it was built were equal with the river, but the river had dropped way down in level since it was built. So it was like mid-level. The entrance was like mid-level on the sheer wall of the canyon. I'm glad you heard me. Cool. So he had to, I guess, while he didn't specifically say, I would think that if it was down halfway down the sheer wall, he would have either had to climb up somehow or climb down the wall to get to the entrance. Yeah, that is weird, Karen. And I will tell you real quick, I've never seen the Grand Canyon in person, and apparently that area is completely like inaccessible anyway, because they closed it off almost like it was some governmental piece. So then the follow over down there where it looks golden yellow, and so that's just the cliff faces through the Grand Canyon. So this doorway, if you will, ledge would have been halfway down one of those sheer walls. So not easily accessible now, but you could have back then when it was first built by whomever built it. Oh, let me see here. Okay, for those. And okay, so that up there. So next one. So he did notice little marks on the wall inside the entrance. He went back 700 feet along the main passage till coming upon the tomb and mummies. He took pictures by flashlight and took a number of relics to be shipped to the Smithsonian Institute. So the passages, the main passageway is about 12 feet wide, narrowed to 9 feet at the other, 57 feet from the entrance. The first side passage branches off to the right and left And on both sides are rooms about the size of a regular living room and are entered by oval-shaped doors and are ventilated by round air spaces through walls and the passageways. Walls are about 3 inches thick, and the passages are laid out as straight as any engineer could. So here is basically a photocopy of the hieroglyphic tablet that they found, and the front page of the newspaper that discussed this explosion happening. And the photocopy was supposed to be got committed to the newspaper. So again, nobody at the time knew how to decipher the hieroglyph to submit it back to, Smithsonian. So that's just evidence that this newspaper article was published and that was found, because you'll see what I want to tell you now on time. Isn't that where they found the red-headed giants that have several rows of teeth? I've never heard of that connection to the Grand Canyon, so I'm not sure if that's what they found. Now, I did have some pictures of like the tomb spaces he found. Where it says the pictures, well, they look like more like drawing than they do a photograph, but it says the tomb or crypt in which the mummies were found is one of the largest chambers, the walls slanting at an angle of 45 degrees. So here's like a drawing of, I just closed it. Nope. Get your fingers out of the way, Donna. So that is like what the tomb space looked like of all the mummies that were in there. And let's see. And here's a couple of them close up. That's just a couple of them, but so it's like they had some grave goods, next to them on their little platform, but that was it. Okay, a different site. So shrine, they did find a shrine. Yes, this is allegedly at the Grand Canyon, but you can't access it. Talked about putting it, make it governmental land and completely inaccessible and protected so that nobody can get in there. So it's now unknown, and you'll see why. Like, they are debating whether this exists or not, because there's some plausible deniability stuff going on after the fact. So the shrine was described as being, quote, over 100 feet from the entrance is the cross hall, several hundred feet long, where idol or images of the people's god is sitting cross-legged with the lotus flower or lily in each hand. The cast of the face is oriental. The idol resembles Buddha. The are not certain what religious worship it represents, end quote. Various other idols were also found. The mummies were all male, with no females or children buried there. Exactly. And that upwards of 50,000 people live there. Interestingly, despite the page turn, page stick, the front page article it was published in the Phoenix Gazette on April 5th, 1909, giving such a highly detailed report of the findings. The Smithsonian claims to have absolutely no knowledge of its discovery or its discoverers. Of interest to note, in reviewing maps, much of the area of the canyon on the north side has Egyptian names to it. Like there's like some parts of it are like Ramses and Ra and things like that. So they're named after Egyptian names. Archaeological cover-up. Again, the Smithsonian has been involved in more than one of the instances of deniability. They've been highly detailed. They went up on talked about how the modern day writer that I was saying said they called the Smithsonian and got passed through many different people and finally got this lady who, whilst remaining respectful and polite, she said there was absolutely no anything pertaining to this having been found or any idea who G.E. Kincaid guy was, and that they were not involved in any of. But that's some pretty interesting. Why would a newspaper risk their reputation publishing this? And also, at the end of the article, it said basically that more to follow over the next couple of days, and more information we will be publishing over the next week. And yet there never was a mention in the newspaper about it. And again, Smithsonian denies all of it. So to me, it seems much more valid than not because of the amount of detail in it, as well as that a newspaper put this on their front page. And they're not going to risk, a mainstream newspaper for the area isn't going to risk their reputation on a chance. So that photo I showed you of the front page of the newspaper was from the article they published April 5th of 1909. And on the front page of it was the story. And then the photocopy, they said that they were given by G.E. Kincaid of the tablet with all the hieroglyphs on it. So nobody knows where it is now because it's on government land. So it's not like anybody can actively go look without the government's permission, which won't happen. So there's going to be something in there that, shakes up somebody's ideals of human evolution and or technological advances. There's some reason the government and Smithsonian, which is greatly funded by the government, would be hiding it. So now the next one is in your neck of the woods, Miss Tanya. It's in Missouri. So the New York Times paper on April of 1885 stated that a Mr. David Coates, who was the recorder of the city of Moberly, and Mr. George Keating was the city marshal, discovered an ancient city in under Missouri. They claim it was found at the bottom of a coal shaft, 360 feet deep, which was being sunk, whatever that means. It wasn't used or whatever. I know, right? I was thinking of you the whole time I was taking the notes on this. And so, which was being sunk near Moberly in Randolph County, Missouri. It was described as in depth of the Grand Canyon site had been, different styles of things and layout, etc., but the size of it was pretty similar to what's described in the science argued over the dating of the site because of being found in coal in the mine supposedly formed during the Carboniferous period about 354 to 290 million years ago, which would mean that the city would be at least 300 million years old, the site would be. So obviously Orthodox science won't accept that because too many are still sticking to, like glue, Darwin's theory of evolution when humans evolved into modern humans. So this site predates all that, although interesting to note, there have been a number of other sites worldwide that date back to that 300 million year age period, like footprint fossils that are distinctly human found on rocks, like a plateau of rock where there's multiple footprints of multiple sizes walking, so a group of people that fossilized, so they were kind of slogging in the mud, and it fossilized over time, and they are distinctly human footprints that date back to about 300 million years. I froze again. I'm not frozen on my end. So, yeah, that's weird. didn't hear, but I was basically saying that science dated the site back to be about 300 million years ago, which mainstream orthodox science won't accept because too many are still stuck on a history of evolution and how and when modern humans came into being, even though there have other artifacts found globally that date back to 300 million year age period. Like the human prints found human barefoot prints found walking like they were fossilized, so they must have been walking over like a boggy mud or clay bed that it had multiple size footprints. Were walking over this area, and they did back 10 years ago. Science accepted as in the box made. It would have to revolutionize the entire idea of human existence if they were to admit that is truth. So despite a growing pile of evidence showing people walked, like I said, over millions of years ago, it does take the foundation of science. And, they're just going to against that, I think, indefinitely. So skeletal remains were found showing the figure was 3 times the size of an ordinary man while alive. Science still refutes the existence of giants as well, despite there being evidence of skeletal remains found. Were much larger than the average human. And again, those remains end up disappearing because that doesn't fit into the theory of evolution of, there is no giants listed anywhere in that, so that science won't admit that they had lived. The Smithsonian has been involved with many mysterious disappearances of artifacts throughout their history and denial of all involvement in several different explorations. Both men from Missouri who discovered this site died within 8 years of reporting it. And more information was promised to follow in the paper in the New York Times, which is, a pretty big publication. And not another word was said about it. The bones disappeared from the site, and it's thought that the Smithsonian took them. And there were images said to be from that site. I don't have many, but there was a couple of them. I'll show you. So it looks a lot like many of the other sites that we've seen, except this is said to be in Missouri. Well, under Missouri anyway. I guess that is the only one I have in there. Okay, so yeah, so as you can see, like, was some photographic evidence remaining, but science won't admit it. And again, because if it was the end of from a coal dates the creation of coal dates all the way back to the Carboniferous period, which puts the site back to 300 million years ago. Right? I don't know if it's still accessible or not, or where the coal shaft is. But again, there's the evidence of the skeletal remains gone, and those men died, and there was not another word said about it in the New York Times or anybody reporting it. So, like it was promised, that was kind of at the end of the article again, where they left off saying, well, more information is promised to come, but it never did. So, other ancient sites of underground cities have also been found, including Japan, Italy, Tibet, etc. And yet it seems as if it threatens science's view on human evolution much, and quickly shut down on any information on being swept under the rug. I saw a documentary kind of recently that was talking about, I want to say he might have been British. He was on vacation in Japan anyway, maybe Australian. I can't remember his heritage, but he said that he started taking notice that some of the shapes of some of the mountains of where he was in Japan were almost pyramidal shape, but very softened edges, and they were very, very wooded over. Like, it was just acres and acres and acres of woodlands. And when upon looking into getting to explore closer, he was stopped and not allowed in any further. And upon further digging and investigation on his part, it seems as if the Japanese government ordered like a whole bunch of be planted over top of these ancient pyramid sites. And so it looks like more like woodland and regular mountains from the air or at a distance, but they still hold that kind of slightly pyramid shape to them, but not anywhere close to them being to investigate them. So cover up, right? To me, science should always be willing to say maybe. They can say at the very least it's unlikely, they find it unlikely that it could exist or something is real, but to shut it down, scientists do, they leave it at that of no, absolutely not, that can't be real. But if you lose that aspect to be able to say maybe, that okay, well, probably this couldn't exist, or there's not evidence supporting it, but there's not evidence supporting it doesn't exist. And that to me is how science should stand on things, but I don't run the world. So I think the government is also involved, which in turn does help fund the Sony institution. And perhaps someday we will lift the veil on the unknown and expand our understanding of it rather than being afraid. So there are still a multitude of other sites out there, but they're all pretty similar. You get the gist, the scope of them, and the age of them, and you can form your own opinions as to why I think all these huge populations of people were moving underground to live, and or science's denial of their existence. But needless to say, it does still exist that way. So the next Willows Bend is going to be June 14th for episode number 135. And the topics on the table to vote for, making my pen handy. There's a site that I found really interesting. It's not underground, but it's like thought to be one of the oldest temple sites in the world. Beautiful, 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 and unexplained engineering of the site, etc. It's called Saavi, India. So that I put that one on there for this week. We also have the Mary Celeste, the world's oldest pyramid, Cholula, the reptilian alien races, the Tunguska event that was in Russia, origins of nursery rhymes. It also added the discovery of unknown discs of Volgograd, Russia, of all like tons, like a lot of discs that were found in Volgograd, Russia that science has no explanation for, but very interesting. So let me know if you guys are wanting. So again, we have India, the Mary Celeste, the world's oldest pyramid, Cholula, reptilian alien races, the Tunguska event, origins of nursery rhymes, and the unknown discs of Volgograd, Russia. What was the name of the one you found? I found a couple of them, Sandy. The Hop India one and the unknown discs of Volgograd, Russia were the two I added this week. Last week I added the Tunguska event, which was in Russia, where it looked like a meteor hit, and yet there's no black site or otherwise, but that whole area is wiped out. All right, so we have nursery rhymes. Where are you? There we are. Nursery rhymes for Tanya and Karen. Cindy says the oldest pyramid, Lula. Posty here. Sage says reptilian alien races. Okay. That's 5 people. Missing at least one person watching. So again, Hampi, India, the Mary Celeste, the world's oldest pyramid, reptilian alien races, the Tunguska event, the origin of nursery rhymes, or unknown discs of Volgograd, Russia. I think it's Stacy has been voted. If I had to guess, because she tends to be multitasking and leaves the show playing and listening while she's doing other things. Stacy, if you're listening, what topic would you like? Because she'll be the tiebreaker, because both origins of rhymes and the pyramid has 2 votes. Or I'll have to flip a coin. Pyramid, says Stacy. Okay. Aaron probably got bored and left, if I know him. Even though I had pictures, he probably got bored and left. Okay, so Cholula, it'll be for next week, the world's oldest pyramid. And we also have the book group Wednesday on the 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be starting the Seth material, the new book, on Wednesday. So anybody interested is welcome to that. And we'll be doing reads on Friday on my Beyond the Veil page, Facebook. So anybody listening who's interested can check that out. And I also have Willows Bend, or the Willows Bend Facebook as well. You're welcome to check out. It is a private group, so you got to ask permission to join it. I'm going to keep trolls and such out. Do enjoy pyramids. So yeah, definitely. It's sad. From what I saw of the footage of it, it looked like an interesting topic, hence me throwing it on there, you know. So it'll be covered, and everything that's on here, unless it goes like a few weeks or something without any vote on, leave it on the list and we just carry it over. So anyway, that'll be the schedule. So thank you to everybody for hanging out, and I apologize again for the technical difficulties of Zoom, even though it's not my fault, but still your patience in dealing with it. And I will see everybody who's interested Wednesday night in the book group and Friday for readings. And then, yeah, he was here, Mary, but he probably got bored and left, or got bored with the, the freaking stuff. Who knows? So namaste and love and light to everyone as well. Thank you as well, Stacia, for coming. Have a wonderful rest of the week. I'll see you guys for the book group on Wednesday night. We'll hang out, then start the new book. So love and light to everybody. Thank you again for your patience, and we'll see you around Facebook land, guys. Love to all. Good night.